All right, hello everyone. This is OmniTalk Retail. I'm Chris Walton.
And I'm Ann Mazinga.
And we are coming to you live from CommerceNext at the Own It AI booth, and that is booth 170. Booth 170. You can see them right behind us. Come on, stop by. They're already the talk of the show. They had a packed house this morning as they debuted and talked about their technology.
Yes.
So, Ann, I am excited to be here. How are you feeling this morning?
I'm ready. I mean, we have non-licensed music playing in the background that's going to be quite loud. I will just give that a heads up to everybody listening. We are doing what we can to turn that down.
Could be some YouTube flags for us later on today.
We did not get Pharrell in here to sing for our podcast yet, but maybe we're in New York. Maybe we can work on that.
That's right. You never know with us. So, all right. So, without further ado, joining us and standing in between us is Mara Sirhal, the Chief Merchant and Brand Officer at Saks off 5th. Mara, welcome to OmniTalk.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, tell us a little bit about your background and your career and your role at Saks.
Yeah, so first of all, I'm a Midwest gal.
Oh, you
born
are?
and bred Chicago. So I always have to throw that in there.
All right, that's awesome.
I have been a New Yorker now 22 years. So
22 years.
I'm a New Yorker.
Okay.
But yep, I am the Chief Brand Officer and Merchant at Saks off 5th. I actually spent almost 20 years at Macy's. So
okay.
Lots of different merchant roles, product development, digital, you name it. And then I went actually over to Bed Bath & Beyond, and I was there for 2 years. And then I've been in this role about a year.
Okay, wow, all right.
Yes.
What's been your favorite one so far?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
Oh gosh, I don't. I'm like a retail geek. I'm telling you.
Well,
I love it all. And I honestly, as a merchant too.
Yeah.
I've had everything from men's underwear, sleepwear, and hosiery to women's contemporary apparel, and I love it all. So
you just love retail.
That's the truth.
Right. Yeah, that's true. If you're a merchant, you got to love every aspect of it, regardless of what product category you're buying.
All
right?
about the customer.
Yeah.
Fall in love with them.
You said you have digital experience too, and
I do.
So talk about that.
Yeah. So early on, let's call it back to 2009, the opportunity to, go to Macy's.com when it was really run as its own entity.
Yeah.
And really kind of cut my chops early and from a site merchandising and sort of digital merchandising standpoint. And then obviously as an industry, we've moved so much to omni, approach to merchandising. And so having sort of that, baseline of experience from those early Macy's.com days was really pivotal for me, and really kind of having the entrepreneurial spirit behind what we do as merchants and as retailers. So, yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ann.
You were on stage this morning. You just got done already.
Yes.
Tell the audience a little bit about what you were talking about. I imagine you shared some of that career background, but what else did you talk about?
Yeah, no, it was a great panel. It was the first one of the day.
Right.
So started up right, but it was called Overcoming Obstacles to Achieve Greatness.
Okay.
So I love what I do. I think we can always do better. So, greatness, I'm sure, there's things I can do to improve. But really the tone of it was about vulnerability.
Okay.
And I've often said that's my superpower, and I'm very comfortable, sharing what my missteps and mistakes and things that I've had to go through both as an executive and just as a, mom, wife, daughter, what have you. Yeah. And this was an opportunity for a couple of really incredible women to come together and share openly what our experiences have been in the workplace, really beyond just obviously what we've accomplished, but how we've done that. And again, leaning into vulnerability as a key.
That's a very important way to kick off this conference, I think, especially when we're talking about new technology, we're talking about trying to figure out the evolution of the industry at large. Is there anything that any like moment that you really like that people latched onto when you were explaining this morning, or any detail that you go into?
Yeah, well, there were so many moments, and by the way, I was taking mental notes furiously because my fellow panelists were incredible. So I hope I didn't miss anything of the amazing nuggets they shared as well. But, I sort of said a provocative word, which was, and when talking about really owning your career and driving it, is be selfish.
Yes. Oh, wow.
Because it's the one place in your life you can be, right? Every role you take, every move you make should be based on your goals and what you want to achieve in your career versus what's best for someone else, or maybe even the company itself. So, selfish, career-driven doesn't mean you're not on a team and you don't collaborate and you don't play nice, but really about those building blocks that you need to achieve.
Your boundaries of what you're willing to do and what you're not. That's my new word of the week, boundaries.
Yeah.
And you must be vulnerable if you're starting off the show with us here. You're willing to do anything. So, all right, so how do you approach a show like this, like CommerceNext? Like, are you looking for anything? Is there any tech you've got your eye on? You know, particularly as you think about off-price now. This is kind of a new realm for you too, right? So how do you think about all that?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's one that I think, you know, again, as a more traditionally brought up merchant, right, is always take the meetings, always have the conversations, because there is so much new tech. There is something always that you haven't thought of before that's going to power your business differently, connect with your customer a different way, drive a better experience. So, you know, as a merchant, you don't always think in those terms,
right?
Because you're
got
not
a lot to do day to day.
Picking, but I think, you know, taking the meetings, and so obviously,
so stay curious.
Exactly. Yeah. Stay curious, and I think a conference like this, it allows you to do that and just sort of bite-sized, you know, opportunities, and also just making connections. So there's a lot of tech that, let's say, I learned about 3 years ago, and I'm just sort of bringing the table, you know, to our company, because it's a relationship I've cultivated through, you know, being curious and finding those opportunities.
Have you been to this show before, or is this your first time?
I've actually not been
You've
to
not been to
CommerceNext,
this show.
So I'm super excited.
Right,
yeah,
awesome.
This is my first time at this show, so can't wait to learn.
Well, tell us a little bit more about what's ahead for you in your role this year. What are you excited about? What should we be looking for from Saks Off 5th?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I love our customer. I love our brand. And there's many reasons, but one really important one is that we are all about attainable aspiration. We are off price, but we are luxury off price.
Yes.
And so that brand you never thought you could own, that bag you never thought you would carry, you know, we have this power of driving such an emotional experience, no matter who you are, because you're going to find an incredible deal on something that you aspire to own, and we make that possible. And I think it's never more important. Obviously, there's so many different macroeconomic pressures and things that we're dealing with, you know, on a daily basis as consumers.
Right.
And I think Saks Off 5th, just our value proposition is never more suited than now, and being able to really unlock that for people.
Yeah, it's so perfect. I mean, I think that there's this growing divide, right? You have fast fashion on one end, and you have luxury on the other, and it's a space that I think Saks Off 5th is doing really well, because it's there. You need that way to get into luxury, to graduate up into it, whether it's resale or it's a place like Saks Off 5th. So
definitely,
really excited to see what you're all bringing out to the consumers this year, the rest of 2024. But I think with that, we'll wrap it up.
All right.
We are so thankful to Mara for stopping by. Thanks again to Own It for making all of our coverage from the show possible. We'll be here at booth 170 all day, rocking out.
Rocking out, yes.
So
well said, Ann. Well said in a lot of ways.
That's right. So if you're at the show, please come stop by and see us. Say hello, booth 170. And until then,
as always, be careful out there.